Go.
Wait. Did you get that? That was awesome.
I did.
Package tricks. Christmas tricks. Yeah. All right, let's talk about something that's not a trick, but it's a real deal. We're talking automation today and budget blinds of Blairsville. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joey. Behind the camera is Katie, as always. And it is the holiday season. A time for giving, a time for sharing, and a time for showing people just how much you care about them. So, we've got the 3 best gifts for you right here. We're talking whole home automation today. That's right. And each of these being at different price categories, you can tell somebody you love them, but you don't necessarily have to break the bank unless you really, really love them. We're going to let you decide that, right, Katie? But we are going to help you decide which one you should go with when we do our in-home consultation, which you can do by giving us a call at Budget Blinds of Blairsville. We're right across the street from Rose Auto. Yep, it's still there. And right next door to Subway and Monte Alban Mexican Restaurant. But enough of that. Let's talk about automation. So we've got 3 different types of automation here in front of us. I've got Somfy, we've got Lutron, and we've got our Smart Home collection, which is exclusive through Budget Blinds. We're going to start over here with Somfy today. Somfy has been in the motorized industry for a very, very long time. In fact, most of the time, whenever you have a roller shade, if you've had them for a few years, a lot of our customers, this is what they're familiar with. They're going to have a remote like this. They do interior shades, exterior, all different types. And we've got one right over here that we're going to show you. Now, one consideration that is sometimes more important for people than some other things that come into play that we'll talk about in a little bit is motor noise. So when I actually roll up the shade, we're going to pay careful attention to how loud each motor is, starting with this one here. Ready? So hopefully you can hear that. That wasn't an overly loud motor. You can still hear me talk as the motor goes up and down, but there is a noise with it. Now, Somfy is a motor that we use when we do our exterior flex zip shades. Those are exterior shades that have a track on either side. We mount these around decks, patios. If you have a big open area with some pillars around a pool or something, we can put these in there to basically give you an entire enclosed space. Somfy is the motor that gets used in those shades. They make some really big, beefy motors, and they make some very small motors. They do mainly rechargeable nowadays, but they'll have some direct plug-ins, which will show you kind of what that looks like on an interior motor. But they do it for exterior, of course, as well. And then you also have, not as common anymore, but you do have a battery wand that is available that has AA batteries. Lithium, right? Yes, I couldn't think of the word for a second. Lithium batteries that go into the battery tube. So Somfy makes all of those. Now, in contrast, Smart Home over here, which again is exclusive through Budget Blinds, Smart Home is going to do all rechargeable or direct current. So that's going to be a plug-in directly to the wall or through a power panel, which we can go into with your builder, with you if you are savvy in that world and you're just building a home. Then we can do a power panel where all of the shades would come back to one central location. Power panel plugs in to your power box, okay? So, or breaker box. So most of the time with Smart Home, we do something like what you're going to see over here, where it is a rechargeable battery. The cool part about this is that recharging it is super easy. It's a micro USB port that you plug into just one side, whichever side the motor is on. You plug that in, and based on once down, once up per day, roughly 6 to 8 months, you're going to recharge this guy. It takes about 5 hours to recharge, and then you're ready to go for another 6 to 8 months. Let's take a listen to the motor noise here. That was a truck outside. So similar to Somfy, but a little bit quieter. Now, something that's going to come to play with motor noise is whether or not we're using the encasement, what it's being mounted to. So all of that makes a difference whenever we actually mount the shade in the window, how much noise you hear. It's going to be affected by all of those types of things. So this is a pretty good example of what these really do sound like in a home. All right, so that is smart home. Now, both of these systems have a smart bridge. This is what the smart home smart bridge looks like. This is what Somfy's smart bridge looks like. We tend to lean more, if we're going to be doing something that we're going to control from our phones, we're going to lean more towards the smart home collection. The Tahoma here with Somfy, it works, but not as reliably, to be completely honest, and we tell you this in person as well, as the smart home or as Lutron, which we're going to get into right now. So Lutron is a beast when it comes to motorization. They're the quietest in the industry. They're known primarily for their lighting control, which you see here, but they also have shade control as well. The nice part about Lutron is that for a lot of new homes, when we're just building, you're going to have these throughout your house. If you're doing a lot of automation or if you have a lot of dimmers, Lutron gets used quite a bit. You can do their shades as well and have a remote that gets mounted to the wall that looks just like the one for all of your lights, which is really cool. They have a smart bridge, just a tiny little guy like this, that is extremely reliable, has really wide coverage, and the app is exceptional. So all three of these are going to have an app that you can use. With Lutron, their app, if you are tying in other whole home automation, it's going to be easier to integrate Lutron arguably than either of these two, although you're able to do it. Again, it really just depends on what our primary goal is. So with Lutron, one of the neat parts that these other companies have as well, but I don't have one out to show you, is that you can mount this to the wall without having, with just doing a surface mount, without having to actually cut into the drywall. So you can see how flat that is there, and it just sticks right to the wall. If you actually want to see this installed, let's take a look right over here at our shade. So this is actually mounted to the wall there. And let's listen to this motor. Now that's quiet. So this window size here is the same one as the first one that we did with Somfy, and obviously larger than the one that we did with Smart Home. Has virtually no noise to it at all. Just a very, very little slight amount of noise. If we go over to this one over here, this one's also Lutron. This one's a little bit smaller, obviously. And again, you can hear virtually nothing. So Lutron, their shades work a little bit differently. They're not rechargeable. They're actually run with D-cell alkaline batteries, or they're going to be plugged in direct like this. You can see this cord coming out of here. It's going into an outlet behind our filing area there. So that's one way to do it. The main way that we typically go with Lutron is with batteries. Based on once down and once up per day, on average, you're going to get about 2 years of life out of a Lutron shade before those batteries have to be replaced. Bear in mind, typically there's 8 D-cell batteries to a shade. So a lot of batteries go in there, but 2 years of life based on once down and once up per day in comparison with a rechargeable where that's going to be about 6 to 8 months. One way you can extend that life another 6 months, again on average, is with a solar panel. So you can take your smart home shade, put a solar panel on it, and then that sticks to the window. And if we don't have a really thick tint on the glass and we have good sunlight, that can extend that shade up to a year's time now before we have to actually go up, plug it in, and recharge it. May get a little more, may get a little less, depends on use and all those other variables that we discussed. All right, guys, so I think you understand now what you need to do. It's Christmas. You need to give us a call so we can come out and give your loved one a brand new motorized shade. But wait, maybe you don't want to have to go the full Monty and do one of the main lines of motorization. We have something for you. We've talked about it on here before, and we're going to talk about it again. It's this guy right here. This is a motorized shade on a wand, a motorized wand. So this guy, it's going to have a little bit of a louder motor noise. It is still rechargeable. The motor is inside of the headrail, and this comes at a fraction of the price of full motorization. By fraction, I mean literally at about half of the price of full motorization. This guy right here. All you have to do is just walk up to your shade, hit a button, walk away, you are done. When it's time to recharge, you don't have to get all the way up to the headrail. You just have to get to the bottom of the wand and plug it in right there. This has been extremely popular since it released about, what, a year ago now, Katie? If even that long? 2? Okay. All right, where does the time go, right? So this, though, within the past year, because coming this year, supposedly June of 2024, all lift cords are going to have to be removed with some exceptions. Now people are moving more and more to either cordless, or if we can't reach the window to do cordless, we jump over to a motorized wand. All right, so we've got a lot of options when it comes to motorization. We've got a lot of options when it comes to the motors themselves, different types of motors. Some considerations that we do take into account are going to be how high the windows are, how easily we can get to those up high windows. Obviously, we don't want to have to get on a 20-foot ladder to recharge those motors a couple times a year. So that would be a case where we typically are going to go over to Lutron to for those windows, because that's going to be a lot easier for us to exchange those batteries. A lot of considerations like that. So make sure you give us a call. We're going to be happy to come out to you, or come on in here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You can check these things out for yourself in person. Come play with all the motorized shades and all that. We'll be happy to go over all of those with you. Miss Katie behind the camera shaking her head. She is excited, and she is ready for you to come on out and explore the wide, exciting world of window treatments with us. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those in the comments below. And we look forward to seeing you guys. Hope you're having a very happy and merry holiday season. I'm Joey. Behind the camera, as always, is Katie. We hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.